Welcome, and thanks for joining for the Lift Up mini-series, What is Really Going On in Afghanistan Right Now? And we're honored to have special guest John Hansen, who has actually been deployed to Afghanistan in the past and has relationships with people right now, Afghan nationals and military from the US. And so we're gonna hear real-time intel of what it's like to be in Afghanistan at the moment. John, thank you so much for joining us. It is an honor to get to hear your story and what you have to share with us today. And just would love to hear your background and who you are.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it, man. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news right now, and I think one of the silver linings of the last 10 to 20 days of this Afghanistan evacuation that we're seeing take place in real time has been the veteran communities been able to share and provide a unique perspective of what's going on. And so I'm thankful to be a part of that community. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, served 5 years, active duty in the infantry, the Marine Corps. So I had the unique opportunity to serve in the country of Afghanistan actually in 2014 during the drawdown of the war. So it was a unique time where we saw a lot of transitions taking place, a lot of reliance on the Afghan army. We're kind of stepping away, allowing them to take the lead role. And I got to serve in what I would argue is the best unit in the Marine Corps, 1st Battalion, 7th Marines, with Charlie Company. And we spent 7 months in country, all in southern part of the country, but specifically some time staying in Afghanistan and then at a couple of different bases outside of some villages in that area. And during that time, I mean, we were able to experience and encounter a lot of things. I was fortunate enough to run a medical team with some of my best friends, and we treated casualties from the Afghan army, anything from explosion victims, loss of limbs, loss of life, to gunshots and everything in between. Wow. And it was a really eye-opening experience because I got to see these young men, the exact same age as me, fight for the freedom of their country. And it was a humbling experience. And so in that moment, that season of 7 months, I fell in love with the country. I think if you talk to a lot of veterans, the first thing they're going to tell you about Afghanistan is it's really hot. It's really rugged, but it is incredibly beautiful. I mean, literally, the scenery is breathtaking. There's mountains, there's valleys, there's rivers. I mean, it is honestly one of the more beautiful places I've ever been. Wow. And the same translates to the people, right? Like the people there are just incredible. They're people that their top priority in life is providing for family, to protect their family, to care for their tribe, their unit, their group, the people closest to them, and the lengths they're willing to go to protect their people is awe-inspiring. And so, today we're all watching the news and we're seeing this same desperate fight to protect and save families taking place in the context of evacuations from Kabul airport, in the visa process for a lot of Afghan nationals that have served alongside the military, and we're seeing the most extreme moments, I think, in Afghan history in a long time. And it's definitely been hard to watch,
Yep. I can only imagine, someone who's been there, to see the state it's in today is probably really, really obviously difficult. Well, at the same time, would just love to hear kind of your perspective on what you think is kind of going on right now, and what you'd say is kind of the reality of Afghanistan at the moment.
I think what people don't realize is this has been a slow creep for a while. So we were talking before. The Taliban has slowly been coming back over the last 12 plus months, regaining territory, taking over provinces, taking over cities, and re-establishing control over the country. Obviously, we've seen a rapid collapse in the last couple of weeks, with the president of Afghanistan fleeing, with just the complete and utter chaos that is happening in Kabul, but really all over the country. And really, what is happening is you're seeing the old regime, the old leadership, the old political entity that is the Taliban
Yep.
moving back into control of the nation. And what's tough is you're hearing from leaders of this movement that it's going to be different, that women will be treated with respect, that women can work jobs, that they can leave their face uncovered, that as long as they follow specific laws, they can go about normal life. But the track record of the Taliban
Right.
is from the mid 1990s up until they were kicked out of power in the early 2000s. That couldn't have been further from the truth. So you're seeing a rapid panic sweeping over the country, with tens of thousands of Afghans trying to flee because they don't take the Taliban at their word.
Yep.
And they understand, especially for the interpreters,
Yep.
for the guys that have protected military bases, worked as contractors. There's a thing in government circles known as the SIV, the Special Immigration Visa, and essentially it was a guarantee and a promise that we would allow them to go through that process to immigrate to the U.S. because they had served alongside us, right? It wasn't they helped us out from here or there time, occasionally.
Right.
It was they were serving alongside us.
Wow.
Step in step every single day.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing, I don't even know what the number is, but it's tens of thousands of applications that are out there pending. And people are desperately trying to evacuate the country before we see this regime come in and fully take over as the U.S. withdraws this coming week.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see because we know that there's a time clock associated with it.
Yep.
And we know that as soon as U.S. troops are out, it's going to become exponentially harder for people to process that paperwork and to receive safe passage to get out of the country of Afghanistan. Right. So it really does feel like, man, it's the fourth quarter and we're trying to scramble as quick as possible to get as many people out as possible. And it's been awe-inspiring to see Americans from every walk of life trying to jump on and help any way possible, from financial stuff to scouring the internet to work connections and evacuations. And you've seen the veteran organizations step up and help the State Department process paperwork and get people to safe passage to get to the airport and things of that nature. So you're seeing the best of humanity in a very clear moment where we're seeing the worst of humanity. And Afghanistan is at this teeter point where we know it's guaranteed to fall into chaos as soon as American boots leave the ground within the next few days.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I know that you personally have people that you know from your time in Afghanistan. I'd love for you to share just a little bit about kind of what it's like still being in contact with those people and what they're experiencing today. Yeah.
So, man, and this is where it gets hard, right? Because we're journeying with people through social media, essentially, trying to help them process paperwork to get out of the country.
Wow.
And you're dealing with language barriers, you're dealing with time constraints, even the simplest logistic of their hours and hours ahead. So when it's 3 p.m. here, it's, I don't even know what time there. It's probably early morning, late night.
Yeah. And
so you're dealing with people early in the morning, late at night, things like that. And one specific guy that I've been in contact with every single day for the last week, his family has been approved access into the airport. They've been sent a letter from the State Department saying, hey, you're able to come in. We've processed your SIV immigration paperwork because you served on an American base in 2010 to 2014.
Wow.
Come to the airport. We're going to get you out. So 4 days ago, actually now it's been closer to 6 days. 6 days ago, he came to the airport in Kabul, and for 6 days he stood outside the gate and tried to get in and hasn't been able to get in.
This is with his family?
This is with his family. So it's him, his wife, and their young son. I believe their son, he may be 3 years old. I think he's a little bit younger than that. And he's desperately trying to get in because he understands there's a time clock, right? Yep. This isn't going to go on much longer. And if he doesn't get in soon, the U.S. is going to withdraw and he's going to be left to essentially live on the run, avoiding the Taliban at all costs because the Taliban knows he served with American troops. And he stood at the airport for 5 days with paperwork saying, I can get in, I'm good, I'm cleared, the State Department has cleared me. and he can't get in because it's so backed up and so strained on the system, and so just not ready to handle that level of intake with people. And we're just hoping that, we're hoping against hope that in the next 24 to 72 hours before this thing ends, he's going to be able to get in, and he's going to be able to get on one of those last flights to get out and begin the really long journey then to get into immigration status in the States.
Wow. That's just such a powerful story to hear of what's going on right now, and obviously heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so it's just crazy to think about the journey these people are on and the desperation I'm sure they feel to protect their family. Like you said, that's such a big core value of Afghani people is their family and their tribe.
Above all else.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know I'm sure most people have seen in the news people handing babies over the wall.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine as a parent of a 2-year-old, like how hard that would be to do that, but what place of desperation you'd have to be in.
To be willing to know that you'll never see your child again.
Right.
But that there's hope that they can get out of your current situation you can't comprehend that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't comprehend it.
Yeah. I know. That's why I felt like it was so important that we sat down and shared some of this information, because I want people to have the ability to help. Mm-hmm. I want people to know avenues where they can help. And I know at Lift Up, we're going to do everything possible to help. And we're going to launch projects and get these people aid the best that we can. But last question I have for you, just kind of closing in this first episode, is kind of where are you getting your intel from? How are you getting information that's so hard for the public to even know, as information's going all over the place?
Yeah, I kind of said it at the very beginning, but I think there's the veteran community is resourceful, right? And veterans are usually people that they're driven by action. Yep. And for a vet, and I'll speak for myself personally, and I've had this exact same conversation with many of my friends that I've deployed with. It's incredibly hard to not be the Marine at the gate grabbing onto a baby right now. Yeah. They're built to do that. You know what I mean? Yep. Military men and women are built to be in those situations, in those tough moments. And so I'm hearing it from a lot of veterans organizations that have guys on the ground, sources on the ground. I have got some sources through social media that are actual locals that live in that area. And then, like I kind of said before about my friend that's desperately trying to get out, we're talking on social media every day on these different platforms. Wow. Literally, I'm receiving images from him. He's sending me photos of where he's at in line. He's showing me, he's showing me images of previous injuries that he's received at the hands of the Taliban because he served with Americans. And so it's a mixed bag of veterans organizations that are boots on the ground or working in unison with boots on the ground. And then it's, local Afghan men and women that are desperately trying to get out, and they're using their networks of veterans to try to get resources to make their way into the airport. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Well, I appreciate you, John, sharing some of this information that is not super easy to find right now, and get kind of the intel from the people that are boots on the ground, military veterans, or people living there right now. Yeah. And so we're going to find ways to help. I know you're probably asking yourself, how can you get involved and how can you help? We'd love for you to join us as we work to help these refugees that are coming to the States. We have a project that you can find in the description below where you can donate or learn more about how we're helping. And you can even reach out to us at liftup.com if you want to help in other ways. Thanks.